Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer, food maker, or artisan selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast.
I'm Kat Fields-White.
And I'm Bridget Myers. We're longtime farmers market managers, educators, and consultants. Get ready to catch up on all things farmers market pros with us. During this month of Market Stories episodes, today we're talking with Sina War of the Minnesota Farmers Market Association. Sina Racha. Of Twin Tiger Farm. Hang tight, we'll let Sina tell us what she's up to now in just a minute.
Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Food Forward, gleaning unsold food from local farmers markets to ensure that surplus produce goes straight to communities experiencing food insecurity and not to landfills. Operating in 7 states and expanding to more in 2025, Food Forward helps your market help your community and meet local waste reduction goals. Food recovery and distribution builds awareness and appreciation of the better taste, higher nutritional density, and good value of fresh local food, encouraging the shoppers of tomorrow. If you're ready to explore all the advantages of working with Food Forward, click their logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
All right, welcome back to Tent Talk, everybody.
It's our first live recording back since the conference.
Yes, we are. We remembered how to do this. I'm really proud of us.
Me too.
Yes.
Took a minute.
Yeah.
It is like riding a bicycle, and sometimes it wobbles, but we're good.
Yeah, we're good. We figured it out, everybody.
We're back on.
We're professionals.
Kind of basking in the glow, right?
Yes.
Of the 9th annual intense National Farmers Market Conference. I feel like it went really well this year.
So well. It was so lovely to be at a great location.
It was an exciting venue change.
It was very lovely and very well noted by all of our returning attendees.
I've read through all the comment cards. We haven't sent out the digital survey yet. It's on its way, but all the handwritten comment cards, there was one person that said, "It's so nice here, but I kind of feel sorry for Marina Village now." It's like, okay, well, that's sweet, but it's better here, right?
Yes.
And we got so many cards that said, "Thank you for changing venues. This venue's great. It's just more comfortable. The internet works."
Yes, internet works. The outlets work.
The door was open in the morning when we got there to set up.
The maintenance staff is just my very best friend. I loved them and they loved us.
Yeah.
It was very nice. They were very easy to get a hold of. It was just really professional and organized.
Right.
Love Marina Village for what it is, but it just was not really at the level that we needed it to be to operate this size conference and with this, all the dynamic needs that we had. So I'm really glad that we made the change. I'm glad we still got to be on the water because I know Marina Village was like really special place. Being close to the water, it's just good for everybody's soul. So I think the catamaran was nice because we still got to be right on the water.
Could not get closer to the beach.
Could not get closer.
Beautiful view.
Yes, it was really perfect. So I think, and just having like our own private space upstairs and having areas where folks can like lounge and chat and it's just really
a lot
nice.
Of nice zones actually where you could either be in the big group and be taking a class, or you could kind of be off in a little couchy area where you had, a few people that you wanted to talk more deeply with about a subject.
Yes, and then, I think one of our main kind of issues every year at Marina Village is that we are getting all of these really busy people together that have lots of work to do for 3 days. And that's a big ask. So we need to take care of some work stuff on the side. And there wasn't a lot of places you could go in Marina Village to do that. But the catamaran really offered a lot of space where you could like sit in the lobby or you could sit in our resource lounge, which was huge, and find a private, hour to get your emails done and to do your market map and take a phone call and things like that. So that's really...
Well, and the rooms being, we were staying in the same building or the same complex that the meeting rooms were at, as opposed to our old situation where you went not that far, but down the road.
Yeah.
So it was real easy to run back to your room and do a quick call or pick something up or check something on your computer and then zoom right back into the session without having to trek down the road for 10 or 15 minutes to do that.
Yeah, it's just such a difference, I think. And, we're a very flexible group just in general, market managers. And so I think everyone just made it work going back and forth to the Dana or wherever. But being on site, I know just for myself, I had a lot of market work I needed to get done kind of in between everything. And it was really helpful just to like pop over to my room or to just find a quiet corner and get that stuff done and just stay very engaged with the conference the whole time. So that was some really great feedback that we got from everybody. And I think that we also felt ourselves.
I think so too. And, a lot of the reason we stayed at Marina Village for so long is because we wanted to control our own food and beverage.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to bring people from the farmers market world into a big box kind of hotel where they did hotel food. There's a lot of food waste. We're really sensitive about that. But the catamaran really heard us when we talked about that. And so I feel like, we got to serve breakfast, but we didn't have a whole bunch of stuff left over. And they gave us healthy things, and they worked with us to connect with farmers so that our grilled vegetables at the reception came from a local farmer, and the fruit in the morning came from local farmers as opposed to being commodity stuff. And, we've always had the lunch market every day at Marina Village, which was awesome because you got to eat from local vendors. Also a lot of work for people who are running a conference at the same time. So there's that.
Traumatizing.
But the catamaran, and this is very unusual for a hotel, that they let us go ahead and do a lunch market, not all 3 days, but one day. Monday we had our vendors out in the valet parking lot, and everybody from the conference and folks walking by and other guests at the hotel all got to have lunch with our local farmers market vendors. And that's always a really special part of this conference.
It really is. It's special for our attendees. It's special for us. We get to kind of show off the folks that we love that do our markets. And the vendors are all so grateful. Like, they love coming to that lunch market at the Intense conference because they get to talk to other market managers, and they are just really fascinated by all that. And they really enjoy getting to be around the people that get it. I was talking to Chang, who is the owner of Vegan Mirai. He does vegan sushi, and he's come many years in a row now. He was there at this year's conference, and I talked to him at my market on Saturday, and he said, it was just so wonderful to talk to people who are asking me questions you do your setup like this, or your banner, or his business model is donation based. And so they just really had these really smart questions for his business that I think he gets sometimes at the market from shoppers, but having someone in the industry really ask him and compliment him on his business and just ask these good questions. He loves that. And all the vendors just had a good time talking to everybody.
Yeah,
about that,
they got a charge out of it.
Yeah.
We brought back a farmer and vendor track this year,
Yeah.
which I'm really happy about. That's always been a goal, and one that we've kind of sort of figured it out and gone back and forth on it, because it's hard for a farmer or a vendor to take 3 days off.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally figured out that what we needed to do was offer a 1-day farmer vendor track. We did it on the Monday so people weren't missing markets, because most folks don't have a market on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a really nice turnout. And then we also had market managers, especially those who came from different parts of the country and maybe brought 2 or 3 people from the same team. One of them would be in the manager session, and then another one would be across the hall in the farmer and vendor session, picking up things to take back to their farmers and vendors. So I think everybody really liked that. We're going to go hard on that again next year and make sure that we offer a really full day. Sarah Marshall from Marshall's Hot Sauce in Portland, Oregon was our MC, and she was amazing. She just kept panels and sessions and things going all day long. People were really excited in there. So definitely bringing that back in 2026 for the 10th anniversary.
Yes, I think that was such a hit. And I think every year we're kind of like, oh, should we offer something? And I was telling some of the attendees and our staff that was there that when we first started this conference, you and I would teach Vendor 101. We would teach our vendor class on the Sunday prior to the conference starting. And that was really great because we used to teach that class in person once a month anyway. So we would just have our March class at Marina Village, and we'd get 30 or 40 farmers and vendors, mostly local, to come take Vendor 101, and then some of them would stay for the conference. So that was really great. And then we kind of set that aside for a few years just because it was really complicated to juggle. But you have always really advocated for bringing that back. And folks were like, why do you guys do that? Why do you add the farmers and vendors into this mix? And I would just tell people, I feel like Kat is just really passionate about teaching farmers and vendors to, take this this thing that they're passionate about, their food business or their farm, and to make money. Because if they are not staying in business, if they're not making money, if they're not happy, if they're not growing and succeeding, then really farmers markets will also cease to exist. So we are in this very symbiotic relationship with farmers and vendors, and we do need to offer this to them because there's nowhere else. There's not a lot of places they can go to learn about how to be a success in farmers markets,
right?
Which is something you've always said. And so I think it is really really helpful to have that mindset as a market manager. Remember that we are here to incubate these businesses. We are here to sustain these farms. And we do that by teaching them how to make money and sustain their businesses.
Passion, meet, profit.
That's
our
right.
Very original tagline.
Exactly. Yeah.
No farms, no vendors, no farmers markets.
Exactly. Yeah. And then a few of our vendors and vendors from outside of California stayed for the whole conference, which was so nice. It was really nice. And, I chatted with a lot of them. Like one of my really great vendors was there for all 3 days. And he was like, this is so interesting. He goes, him and I have chatted about a lot of industry things. And he's like, I never really understood, like, what are market managers doing? Like, so that was really helpful for him because he's like, oh, I get it. And there was a lot of sessions on like, nutrition incentives, like SNAP, EBT, and like email newsletters and things like that. And he's like,
keeping your street safe.
yeah, exactly. And he's like, that doesn't like necessarily apply to my business. Like I'm not doing those things, but he said it was really interesting to learn about. And then some sessions, the vendors are just sitting in the lounge talking and getting to know each other while sessions are going on. But that was also very valuable for them.
Yeah,
to learn
I think
from
so
each
too.
other. Yes.
Well, and everybody learns from each other at the conference. That's what we always say. The expertise and the knowledge that's on the stage is matched only by the passion and the excitement and the street smarts that are in those seats.
Exactly. Yes, I think we mentioned a couple times that everyone said, oh, my favorite part of the conference is just being with each other. And so I think we said, okay, well, next year we don't need to even like book any speakers. We're just going to have a 3-day party.
Yeah.
Everyone come hang out. We can all talk to each other. And then, costs will be a little lower for us.
That's true. I actually love putting all those sessions together, reviewing the proposals and curating it so that it all makes sense. But yeah, it'd be a lot easier to just get together and talk. And I'm not sure anybody would hate that.
I really find a lot of value in that. I talked to a lot of really incredible market managers, folks that I had talked to in previous years or that I do talk to throughout the year. Just like via social media or at other conferences that we go to, but also some new people that I hadn't talked to before. And it was just, I learn so much every year. And it's such a value to me as a market manager, like being on that side of it. And then also being involved with operating the conference and being able to contribute to bringing everybody together. So yeah, I think that's
I learned plenty from our sessions. I love it. It's my own private educational thing.
Yes.
So incredibly, we're already excited to be planning for our 10th anniversary conference in 2026. It's kind of like right after you give birth. Leading up to it is rough. The process is rough. But then it's like, hey, wouldn't this kid love a sibling?
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
This is like when I was sitting on the last Wednesday afternoon and I said, we should do this conference again in August. Like, let's have 2 a year. And everyone was like,
everyone on the staff.
What are you? All the staff was like, please, Bridget, someone tackle Bridget right now. I was just on like a high. I was so excited. I was like, guys, we can do this.
Let's do it.
And we're just so exhausted. Like none of us could even like stand up by the end of the day on Wednesday, but it's because it was so lovely to get together with everybody. But a year will go by in no time. So we'll see everybody so soon in spring of 2026.
That's right. 2 words, beach balls.
Yeah. And so speaking of people that are passionate about what they do and love to educate folks on how to be profitable with their business that they're passionate about,
let's move on to our guest.
Today, we're continuing our Market Stories series by checking in with Sina War. We've chatted with Sina before, but it's been about 1.5 years since we checked in, and that's a lot of creativity and manifesting time for this powerhouse. Let's hear what's new. Welcome back to Tent Talk, Sina.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So good. Yeah, good to see you.
Oh, good to hear you, I guess. Sorry, audience.
If you want to see Sina, you can follow her on Instagram.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We missed Sina at the conference this year, but hopefully see you soon somewhere else or back here.
For good reason.
Yes, for good reason.
I had a baby.
Just a little thing. Just a little thing happened in your life. It's
right.
fine.
There's not a lot of things that would stop me from going to the conference, and it was the baby. So for good reason.
And I've seen the baby, and he's worth it.
He's totally worth it. Although, as someone who likes to just hold babies and carry them around, next time just bring him. But I know he's teeny tiny, so
he'll still be carryable.
We'll have a bring your baby day.
Yeah, in 2026, I think he'll still be carryable and cuddleable.
So cute. He needs a picture with Moo Paul.
Yeah,
all the things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So we are doing this series on market stories, and we want to hear about your pre-market world, personal and professional background, and like how you and your family ate and what led you to working in farmers markets. So give folks that don't know you a little background. Where do you come from, and how did you land here?
Absolutely. Well, for the farmers market industry, I started in May of 2020 in Minneapolis at the largest open air farmers market. And I got that role. There was a need. Obviously, it was beginning of the pandemic. I was working in the event industry at the time. And when our world shut down, they asked the market was a client of mine, and they asked me to come help with all of the logistics that were happening. And that market to me was home. That's where my mom taught me how to cook Cambodian food. We'd go through the market and shop with Hmong growers. And so I took a 50% pay cut and said, what the heck? Let's go back to community. Let's go work at the farmers market. And now fast forward today, I'm the director of engagement and inclusion for the Minnesota Farmers Market Association. And now I serve the entire state and help promote farmers markets. So yeah, it's been a journey. But I'm so happy to be here, and I've evolved so much in this space, and I can't wait to share with you guys more about it.
I mean, you've done it all, right?
Yeah.
So when you were at the Minneapolis Farmers Market, did you work for vendors at any point? I know you were a manager at some point. What were all the things you were doing there?
Yeah, no, so I was the market manager. I worked alongside our general market manager, and it was a two-person team. And so my role worked one-on-one with the vendors, our food access program, our marketing, our PR, communications. And then, once you work in a farmer's market, like many of us know, we all become family. And so if a vendor needed help, I was selling, vegetables and canned goods on the side. But I really wore many hats and did what the market needed.
And
Yeah.
Minneapolis Farmers Market is a big market, right? Number of vendors.
Yeah, it's a high traffic market. Yeah. I mean, on a regular Saturday, there'd be 300 people working. There's 172 stalls. There'd be 15,000 people that would get through the market from 6 in the morning to 1 p.m. So it was a pretty big operation. And we were open every single day at that time too. So 7 days a week
Oh,
market.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
What'd you say? No, thank you.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. But very good for your shoppers and farmers and vendors, I'm sure. But that sounds like a ton of work.
It was.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Wild. So you've done a lot of different things, and we'll start digging into individual ones.
Sure.
But which roles do you prefer and why? So you've been a farmers market manager, kind of a sideline
Yeah.
vendor. You're with the association. We'll get
Hmm.
into a couple of the other things that you're doing. I know you're about to be like an
Yeah.
anchor person on the news. But so which of those roles is your favorite? Where are you sitting now?
Okay, so everything happened when opportunity comes about. I'm such a yes person. It's so hard for me to say no. Like if there's an opportunity for me to promote farmers markets in whatever shape or form that is, then I'm probably going to say yes. And those opportunities came through the news. It came through being at the Capitol. And it so happens that at MFMA, our pillars are education, marketing, and policy work. And so when I think about those three buckets, the marketing side is what I enjoy the most. It's when I get to spend the most time with our farmers at markets because I have to really tell their story. Um, so that's probably been where like my sweet spot is what I enjoy most.
That totally makes sense. Knowing you as I do. Yes, a natural marketing
Yeah.
person.
Uh-huh.
So you've got three buckets at Minnesota Farmers Market Association. What does your job description look like?
So I kind of have a part in all of those buckets. The marketing one is what I really own. It's what I do. It's what I am the expert at in our organization. Uh, and then it comes to education, I'm teaching marketing. And so when it comes to policy work, I'm making sure that we're communicating what our initiatives are and what we're trying to fight for our local food system on the policy side. So it kind of bleeds all over, and it centers around marketing. And at this time, when going back after maternity leave, I'm really excited because we're going to start a new project that I've been working on and been concepting for a couple of years now. And it's really focused on getting more vendors at markets and really thinking about the future of farmers markets.
I love that. We, at this year's conference, we talked a lot about speaking up for farmers markets. That's kind of our theme of the year, speak up for
Hmm.
farmers markets, collecting data, making it really obvious to the rest of the world that doesn't seem to notice our sleeping giant of an industry, how big we are and how many of us there are. So the more
Yeah,
vendors and farmers you bring in, of course, the larger our numbers are. So you've done a lot of advocacy work, kind of following
yeah.
in the footsteps of Kathy Zeman at Minnesota Farmers Market Association, who is just an expert. What does that look like specifically? Like, are you doing events at the legislature? Are you doing lobby days? Are you more building one-on-one relationships with the policymakers?
It's all of it, really. I mean, Kathy Zeman, she's the greatest teacher, and we fuel each other. It's like one person has an idea, and then it gets bigger and bigger. We go further and further. But every year, we try to strive for a day where we can bring our legislators to the farm on behalf of MFMA. We had a really successful first year with Kathy at her farm. And so we brought senators, representatives, people from the Department of Agriculture to the farm, and we really brought voices of the community so that they can hear one on one and have this general conversation outside of the environment of the Capitol, if that makes sense, and kind of out of the hustle and bustle of the farmers market as well, to have more intimate conversations. And then we have our legislative partners. So, for example, Land Stewardship Project. Uh, they really focus on land access. They have a bigger organization and have people who can help advocate, like by having lobbyists on staff, for example, they'll help us push our initiatives. And so we'll attend their lobbying days. So I took a pause on my maternity leave recently and went to a lobbying day last week um, at the Capitol. And it was the most energizing space I've been in a while. And it just felt so good to get back in the saddle, going to the Capitol and talking to these legislators because it's been about 3 years now that I've been doing this, and they now see Sina as the voice for farmers markets. And so it's a lot easier to talk about what we need to do to get there, and how they can help. So yeah, it's been a very transformative time in this policy world. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Yeah.
Oh,
So
so much right
yeah,
now with with some of the
absolutely.
latest things going on,
Oh
right?
yeah, tell me
Um,
about it. Yeah.
a lot of folks feeling the need to get out and advocate now. I think it actually has
Hmm.
been a little bit of a motivator this last little period of political craziness. So
Yeah.
couldn't hurt. But you guys have been so good at getting your initiatives moved forward and funded. I mean, you guys have raised a lot of money at the Minnesota Farmers Market Association for your farmers and vendors and markets.
Oh yeah. We just got our first, so happy about this. We just got our first bit of philanthropy money. So we got $100,000 from the Margaret A. Cargill Foundation to help push our initiative forwards. And oh my goodness, it was just such a relief to have that because of how things are shaken out right now with the administration pausing funds and things like that. But man, I think it all happens in motion, right? Like things don't just get handed to you, and you don't just like it's me constantly, Kathy constantly talking about what our goals are, what our initiatives are, and then eventually we get heard, and then this is where we're at now.
Yeah, so that consistent messaging, that's probably the very best tip.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's bring it back to the farm.
Yeah, so somehow you
Yeah.
also have time for farming on top of all of this, which who knows when you sleep, probably never.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and about Sina as well and the Twin Tiger farm. So what are you
Right.
doing with those projects?
Well, okay, so Sriracha is my hot sauce, and
Hmm.
it is a sriracha style sauce, sriracha. Um,
My kind of name.
I love
I
it.
love it.
Love it.
and that all started because there was a need. Going working for MFME actually was very foreign to me. Like I'm a market person, where I'm the most happiest is at the farmers market. And so when I was being thrown into the space at the Capitol and things like that, I would go to the farmers market just to recharge and be with my people. And a bunch of my farm friends had all these red jalapenos that season. And they were like, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy all these peppers and make some homemade sriracha because there was also a sriracha shortage. People started trying it and they're like, this is really good. Can I get some? And I was like, sure. And so this last year Kathy, she taught me how to make or how to start seeds. So at her farm, we did 150 red jalapeno starter plants and we planted some at her farm. She gave me a little plot of land. Now her farm is animals, so to grow produce on her farm is a challenge in itself. But we got some plants growing there, and then I live in Minneapolis, and there is a group called Project Sweetie Pie that has urban plots, and so I had in a plot of land in North Minneapolis where I grew about 60 chili pepper plants there as well. This year is a little different. I'll still continue to grow in Minneapolis, but for the past 4 or 5 months, I've been taking an aquaponics class, and I would like to grow peppers in an aquaponics system, and I have a greenhouse available for me in St. Paul. So that's that's what I'm working on for Twin Tiger Farming Garden.
Are there tilapia involved? I just feel like this is a whole new slide.
I wish tilapia they need hot water. We're gonna go Midwest and we're gonna do yellow perch.
Oh, so there are fish in this aquaponics system.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
That makes it work best, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
What's the challenge with growing vegetables on an animal farm? I mean, are those lambs just heating it up with the salsa, nibbling on the jalapenos? What's happening?
It's like a
Kind
water
of.
runoff soil situation.
Yeah, there are definitely baby goats and chickens that you have to watch out for. But
They like it spicy.
right, they like it spicy. No, it's just her land is the way that her land is uh the landscape of it, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
She really hasn't made for her animals. And so there was this little sunny, shiny plot of land that Kathy let me kind of take over and grow peppers. It didn't work out. I learned a lot of lessons on her farm. It was a really, really wet year. And we started the seeds earlier in the year, like March-ish. I was able to get the starter plants in the ground by April, May, and then I found out I was pregnant, and then I had severe morning sickness.
So being on a farm full of animals, I'm sure that was all.
Yeah, it was
Smells.
kind of torture. Yeah, but the north side, Minneapolis plot of land did pretty good. Has some good production there.
Nice. So on top of all that as well, you've spent a lot of time on TV. So I think I see you like popping on, and you seem to be kind of like the face of the farmers market for local news and other kind of TV segments like that. So tell us about your TV time, like your cooking demos and your farmers market promotion. Are you like heading towards a career as an anchor? Like what's next? Is it going to be Sina TV, the channel you're starting?
I mean, the Sina show sounds kind of good, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a nice ring to it, actually.
You get a pepper and you get a pepper.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, okay, so just me as a person, last year, January, I like threw all of my ideas and like what I wanted to do in life on the wall, just like public speaker, farmer, food, the TV star, all these things. And as the year went on, a lot of this stuff came true. And there was one day where one of the news anchors, she retired and they were just trying to fill in different hosts. And they were like, "Hey, Sina, do you want to host the show for a day?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And that was one of the coolest experiences ever. Instead of just doing like a 3-minute farmers market segment, I got to host an entire 1-hour show. Is that going to be my future? Probably not. It was a lot of fun, but I probably wouldn't do it full time unless it was a full hour of sharing farmer stories. That would be really If that could
Maybe
Good
happen,
idea.
a mini series, maybe.
Yeah.
you know. So, so TV has been really good to me. The producers at local TV stations kind of know me as a person who cooks food that is inspired by farmers market ingredients. And I pitch to them every single month a recipe and a farm story. They either say yes or no or have their own ideas. And I've been doing it for quite a bit now. So it's just kind of what I'm known for. And I'm so happy that I've been able to still do this.
It's so good for your market too, or your
Mhm.
organization. You're the same way,
Hmm.
Bridget. They can call you the day before and say, "Hey, I've got a 5 a.m. call. You want to do it?" And you're just there,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
natural on screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say, Kat always taught me that. She said, whenever like the press calls or the news calls or they want to do any story with any angle at the farmers markets, you always say yes. Just say
Yep.
yes every time they ask, because then they know and they have you like in their roster as someone who's going to agree to do these stories. So then when you get like a big pitch or a big segment, they call you first. And so you have
Yeah.
the opportunity to say yes first. So you do all the little things, even if it's like
Hmm.
a 30-second clip, or they want to talk to one of your vendors that everyone want to talk to you. Like, you make all those arrangements and always say yes to all of that stuff, because then you'll get all this extra airtime. And that is free marketing that people pay
Hmm.
a lot of money for, getting on TV and getting in front of people. So, yeah, just really helpful to always say yes to that.
Yeah. And it just like with you, it's not always just me. I mean, the producers are calling me and they're like, we want to go visit a farm. Do you have any recommendations? And then I'll talk about different vendors that I've worked with at different farmers markets, or they'll try to tell stories in different areas that they're not familiar with since we cover statewide work. So, yeah, just being that resource.
Yeah. And just, you have to have the personality for it, I think, because they'll keep calling you back if you like make good
Hmm.
TV. But just knowing what they're looking for, knowing that you can be an expert in what you do for a living, like being confident that you know what to say, you're definitely going to know more than the anchors. So I think that's
Yeah.
helpful. And you do a great job. You bring a nice energy to it. So
Thank
And
you.
now you have that baby. Like, one of the reasons they love Bridget is they'll do like a Christmas theme or something, and they need kids, and Bridget shows up with kids.
yeah.
She knows how to get all the kids. So now you've got your little co-star that's
I
going to make you.
know. We're going to be making baby food out of farmers
There you
market
go.
ingredients.
Yep,
That's the recipe
perfect.
for today.
I like that
Yep, that's
Yeah,
angle.
right. Apollo's going to be a star. My kids
I
have all
love
been on
it.
TV. Like, sometimes they don't want to go. We just drag them on TV, but yeah, it's fun, if you can bring that extra energy too, because that's just like what the morning shows want, or like
Yeah,
farmers markets are just very like family friendly places. So it's good to have little backup co-stars.
I love it.
love it.
So I know baby's probably taking up a lot of time too, but sounds like you're starting another project, right?
Yeah,
Tell
yes,
us a little bit
I
about
am.
Grow Your Green.
Grow your
Tell us about
green.
that.
Yeah. So when I started working for MFMA, I was just coming out of the farmers market space. And a lot of people don't know MFMA isn't a full-time gig. And so historically, whoever has worked for MFMA has done something else plus their role at MFMA. So like Kathy has her farm and she's the executive director. And so I knew that coming into this space, there would be something else that I would do as an entrepreneur. And I wanted that to happen for me. And so I had this dream, this need that I've seen in the market space of, who is successful in the space? What do we need for the future of farmers markets? And so Grow Your Green kind of stems from that initial thought that I had when I first started at MFMA. Um, and it's all about educating and providing resources for vendors that don't come from generational farms. So they're newer to the space. They could be disadvantaged, you might say, in the space. And so I've had this dream. I've been trying to fund this dream for a long time, and I've been hitting a lot of roadblocks. And last year, after the conference, in March, in I came back home, and then in April, I won an award. I was the 2024 Changemaker Award for this organization called Citizens League. And that was pretty dope. I was like, okay, cool. This is my first award. Like, they're calling me a change maker. I should probably make some change, you know? And so I kind of used that momentum of winning that award to really vocalize what I wanted to do for our community. And so I was just really just telling everyone that wanted to hear it about my Grow Your Green program, access to market. Um, Kathy told us we had an opportunity with the Department of Agriculture and our emerging farmers office that we have with the state of Minnesota to write an NRCS grant. And Kathy was like, maybe we can get Grow Your Green access to markets funded through here. And I was like, Kathy, absolutely, yes. And so we started writing out that grant and later found out that we received the funds for it. And then I wanted to continue the program and expand it and, help it make sure that it was keeping it funding. And that's where we got our philanthropy money, the extra $100,000 to support the program. And so when I return back from maternity leave, I'll be seeking 20 farmers to be a part of this program. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them through a 6-part education series, and it's going to teach them about PR, marketing, branding, how to access the farmers market space, kind of feel, and they're not going to do it alone. They're going to get it with guidance, and they're going to get it with me. And we partnered with the Emerging Farmers Conference, which is this big, huge 300-person conference that is really specialized for those up and coming new farmer community. And we're going to have a marketplace there so that they can test out what they learned with me and with this program within a safe space in the community. And we'll invite market managers and different organizations and media groups to come and interview them and get them prepared to be out in the world and be successful. So that, in a nutshell, is what Grow Your Green is.
That's really exciting.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's really the biggest worry, right, for all of us is, are the farmers all going to retire and who's going to be growing our food? So
Right.
I think like the biggest initiative anybody can do in our industry is teach those new farmers, one, how to grow, but secondly, because it seems like there's a lot, I mean, there's YouTubers and there's
Right.
conferences that are small farm conferences and all that, that'll teach them about irrigation and seedlings. And I don't
Mhm.
know how deeply they're digging into climate change at this moment, but that probably needs to be a big deal. But it seems like not many programs teach them how to sell. And that's really
Right.
important so that they can keep doing it.
And I probably won't teach anything out there that isn't available to them. Like, they could probably go online and learn from their peers, but we're really creating this group so that they can, these group of farmers, so that they can learn from one another and feel like they're in it. Because especially like in my experience working at the Minneapolis Farmers Market, just imagine walking into how can you be successful in that space without having a community behind you. So that's kind of what I envision for the person going through this program, is what their actual experience is going to be out in this world as a new vendor. And so how can we coach them? How can we create community for them to be successful? Um, Unfortunately, with the current administration and this being a NRCS grant, there might be a possibility that my funds might be frozen. So I'm in this kind of freak out mode, almost about to freak out. Like, is this program going to happen the way that I want to happen? But we do have some side funding that through the philanthropy dollars that we can kind of pivot. But regardless, what's going to happen is people are going to be educated and people are going to be guided through industry experts. We're going to figure out a way to do this, but yeah, it's kind of a tough spot we're in right now.
Probably a little bit less scary for these 20 farmers, though, to have you behind them and to have each
Mm-hmm.
other. I mean, when they're in a
Mm-hmm.
cohort, as opposed to, boy, those single farmers out there right now seeing their grants frozen when they've already expended money that hasn't been reimbursed and
Right.
things. It's a frightening thing.
It's
I
scary.
have no
Absolutely.
doubt that between you and Kathy, you're going to come up with other funding.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know if we need to
If
yet, so
need
we're just
be.
crossing our
If need
fingers
be.
if need be. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but figure it out somehow. And I think just bringing farmers together in community, I think a lot of people don't realize that farmers really do like learn so much from each other. At least my experience with our farmers here, they know each other. We have
Mm-hmm.
like third, fourth generation farmers that take a lot of their time to teach newer farmers, strategies for irrigation and which seeds to plant and teach them about the climate and like in their
Mm-hmm.
specific area. And it's just like invaluable. It's not something you can really learn from like some YouTube video or some academic
Mm-hmm.
teaching you about these things. It's like getting those farmers in touch with each other and so they can lean on each other and share resources is just such a valuable thing for them and will really keep them farming. It's like we talk about with market managers, it's so isolating and when we come together, it helps us like do our job better and stay in our jobs and not get burnt out and leave. It's the same with the farmers industry. Like them having someone they can lean on and really talk to someone who gets it is just so, so valuable. So it's such a great service
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing for the farmers to really help them help each other. And then also, like Kat was saying, like help us eat.
Absolutely.
Because we
Mm-hmm.
should all
Bottom
be
line.
very invested in helping farmers help each other because that's how we're going to sustain
Yeah, we
our
serve
society.
a very specific niche.
Yeah.
People who eat.
Yeah.
Just that little fraction of us, people that like to eat food.
You're right.
I've always been impressed by the Emerging Farmers Conference. Now, you got involved with that last year, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Such a huge number of people attending. How long has that been going on, and how do they get so many farmers engaged in that?
I know. It's crazy. It's next year is the 20th anniversary.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
And with Minnesota Farmers Market Association, I'm part of the planning committee. And so I've been on the planning committee for 2 years. And MFMA is also we educate folks at that conference. So we have a workshop that we typically do on the Friday before the big day. And so this last year we did a Grow Your Green financial profitability class. So we taught farmers about financial profitability. And then being on the committee, I was able to find some funds to really work on getting new folks to come out to the conference by creating a film about what the conference is all about. And so last year I wore a lot of hats as well. I guess that's just my thing. I wear a lot of hats. And I hosted and emceed the conference as well.
Nice. Yeah, I
And
think I
so
saw some of those.
yeah. And so it was just like when I was up there on that stage and I looked at the crowd of people, it was just so diverse. There's just so many, and there was people not just from Minnesota, it was people from all over the United States came into this space. And I think what makes this space appeasing to a lot of people is that we go above and beyond to have translators come in. So I think it was 9 different languages that it was translated in time during the conference. And then all of the classes and periods were farm led. So there was some voice from a farmer that was in front of the class. And they really go above and beyond. There was a prayer room, a mothering room, like a wellness room. And so it's really community based, and the food was very diverse. And I don't know, it seems like this conference goes a little bit beyond just educating folks. It's really about community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Looks like such a good
Mhm.
event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am visualizing right now our conference next year, that 10th anniversary 2026 conference. I can just see you on a stage with a group of your growing green farmers and,
Yeah.
telling us
Yeah,
how it's going.
I mean, one of those things that I've thrown on this wall at the beginning of the year is I want to do more educating and more public speaking. And I think, as I've gone through this industry and the work that I've done, there's definitely a story that is being told. And so it would be an amazing experience to see what story I actually tell when we go through this program and launch it. And by this time next year, wow, can't believe it.
Right? Yeah.
See what
Going to have
happens.
such good stories to tell.
Yeah.
As always, it sounds like lots of hats, and you've got your eggs in a lot of
Hmm.
baskets, which to me, in this day and time, I think, more important than ever. Got to diversify what you're doing. And anything else you got up your sleeve that you haven't told us about yet?
There
Like
is.
you need another project.
Do we need another hour of this podcast? Yeah, no, there's a lot of things that I'm doing behind the scenes. What's fun that I've been doing is I have a farmers market fashion line being built right now in Cambodia. Yeah,
Ooh.
so
Wow.
there'll be some fun jumpsuits on our way, probably ready by next year. And so
Ready by
so
next conference. We did get lots of
yeah.
comments from conference attendees about wanting to do a farmers market fashion show and wear your farmers market fashion on certain days at the conference. So we would love to see that, and keep us posted on that. I'm always looking for
Absolutely.
Building that catwalk.
That's right.
Yeah, that catwalk. I love it.
Well, thank you for spending time with us today. And thanks to the baby for allowing you a little break to sit and talk with us about what's coming up next. It's always nice to have you back. And I can tell that this is going to have to be an annual thing because she keeps moving and shaking.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you both so much.
Thanks, Sina.
Thanks,
Miss
Sina.
you. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening today. And big thanks to Food Forward for helping farmers and farmers market managers keep food out of the landfill and on the tables of community members, and for supporting Tent Talk, the farmers market podcast. Find more information about recovering food at your farmers market by clicking the Food Forward logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Please leave us a review on your podcast app or wherever you listen to Tent Talk. Let us and others know how you're enjoying the podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Tent Talk. Connect with fellow farmers market folks in our private Facebook group, the Farmers Market Pros Community, and follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. Find online education and other resources at farmersmarketpros.com. Tent Talk is brought to you by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Tent Talk is hosted by Kat Fields White and Bridget Myers and produced by Leandra Hayes, with original music by David Mead. Tune in next week for another great episode.